Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Career Discovery presentation on exploring registered apprenticeship programs on aggregate service technician and electrical construction. This week is Apprenticeship Week, so Bank of North Dakota is partnering with the Center for Technical Education and the North Dakota Building Trades to bring you presentations on apprenticeship programs available in North Dakota. This is the third and final presentation on Apprenticeship Week and our final career discovery presentation this fall. Recordings of today's and all previous webinars can be found on the Career Discovery tab of our Career Compass website. My name is Amanda Waidula. I'm the University and Student Development Coordinator at the Bank of North Dakota, and I will be facilitating today's webinar. During today's session, students will learn about how apprenticeship programs can allow students to learn in-demand skills across a variety of industries while earning a real-world wage. Just some housekeeping items. In the menu of the webinar, there is both a chat and a Q&A function that we'll encourage all of you to use for your questions or comments that you have about today's webinar. We will answer questions throughout the webinar as well as at the end, so please put your questions in the Q&A box when you have them. Today, we have several speakers. Our first is Jason Ellert. If you're on Tuesday's webinar, he looks familiar, and he's from the North Dakota Building Trade Unions, or the Building Trades, and Jason is the current president of that organization. Next, we have Ann Pollert, who's the Director of Workforce Development from General Equipment and Supplies. Next, we have Adam Kidwell from the Dakota Area Electrical Apprenticeship and Training Fund, and Adam is himself an electrician by trade. And lastly, we have two apprenticeships. Taylor Polchinski, who is an apprentice at General Equipment and Supplies, so he's in the frame there with Ann, and Jennifer Fettig, who is an apprentice electrician. So welcome, everyone. Jason, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Amanda, and thank you for all of you joining us here today. Like Amanda spoke about, it is National Apprenticeship Week, and what we wanted to do with this opportunity is to give specific information about two registered apprenticeship programs right here in North Dakota that are utilizing apprentices into their companies, into their trades, and to give you guys that more information on that opportunity during COVID, because it's just we're missing that opportunity to talk to you guys. And we're taking this opportunity through the Bank of North Dakota and CTE, Career and Technical Education of North Dakota, to give this more information. Amanda did a great job introducing everyone. But again, my name is Jason Ellert. I'm with the Building Trades Unions here in North Dakota, part of a labor organization that has 16 trades a part of it. But with us today is obviously good friends of mine, Adam Kidwell and Ann Pollert. If you guys would like to just give a brief introduction or maybe expand upon what Amanda gave you guys as introductions, go right ahead. We'll start with, we'll go with Ann, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be part of this. My name is Ann Pollert, and I am the Director of Workforce Development at General Equipment and Supplies. What that means is I get to recruit awesome people for awesome programs and give them great career paths. Most of my recruiting efforts are focused at the high school level. However, sometimes there's other things that come up that I'm certainly part of. So my focus is recruitment, also company culture, making it a great place to work, and then giving opportunities, like I said earlier, for a career path.
And Adam.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Kidwell. I'm the Director of Education for the Dakota's Area Electrical Apprenticeship and Training Fund, otherwise known as the Dakota's JATC. So this is a new experience for me. I'm used to speaking in high schools and colleges and getting to know people just a little bit more intimately. So bear with me while I try this new experience, but thanks for listening.
Awesome. And then what we really have unique here today is what we wanted to connect with all of you watching here today is we actually have two apprentices that are joining us, and we'll get more information from them. But why don't you guys go ahead with Taylor, why don't you go ahead and just give a little introduction for yourself?
Taylor Polchinski joined this apprenticeship in 2018, so about 2.5 years now, I think. And
what do you get to do every day?
I just work and learn every day.
Yeah. Awesome. And Jennifer, how about for you?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Fettig. I'm 19, and I am a second step electrician apprentice. And I joined right after high school, right into the union and right into school, and I love it a lot. Like, it's a really great experience.
Excellent, excellent. So going off of that, since we have two registered apprenticeship programs here today, we'll give a little background for that. And we'll start with Ann, and following kind of the PowerPoint that we have up here, why don't you guys tell us and everybody that's listening a little bit about General Equipment and Supplies' apprenticeship program that you guys have.
Absolutely. So we started our apprenticeship programs the summer of 2018, so we're relatively new. And we're a little unique. I feel like we've always been doing apprenticeships informal, but when we were, I would say, informed of the Department of Labor and the opportunities through them to have a registered apprenticeship program, we took that opportunity and made it a registered apprenticeship program. We actually have two programs. We have one in parts and we have one in aggregate. Taylor is in the aggregate program. So those programs both give students the opportunity, one is a 2-year, one is a 3-year, to learn on the job with on-the-job training. Taylor and I have the brochure right in front of us, and Taylor's training is broken down into 6 different levels. On the parts side, same thing. Parts is a 2-year, so it's 4,000 hours and 4,000 on-the-job training hours and 488 instructional. Whereas Taylor's going to be 6,000 and 432 instructional hours. So our programs were developed really to keep new people coming in and learning and developing these people. Earlier I said we did it informally. All we did to make it a federal apprenticeship program is do the paperwork, but then to make sure that Taylor learns everything he needs to learn, we put together a comprehensive guideline. So even though we were doing it informally before and probably doing it very similar, this guideline is making sure nothing gets missed in that training.
Okay, excellent. And then Adam, how about a little bit of information, background on Dakota's JATC registered apprenticeship program?
Sure. So our program's 5 years of on-the-job training and related classroom training to go along with it. Normally that's a rough sales pitch for someone that comes right out of high school, but we always do this demonstration where we describe exactly what our program entails. If we put this in writing, I guarantee that I'll keep you working for the next 5 years, and I guarantee to advance your wage every 6 months, and I guarantee to take care of all of your training paid for by the employer. And I guarantee at the end that you'll have a recognized industry credential where you'll be able to keep employment wherever you choose to be. And then we reveal to them what that guarantee really is it's a registered apprenticeship program. So in that time, that 5 years, our apprentices gain over 8,000 hours of OJT and 900 hours of classroom time before passing a state licensing exam. Our instructors are licensed electricians and also receive training through the University of Tennessee. So much like Ann's experience, we take industry professionals to teach our apprentices. So it provides kind of a unique classroom environment. Every 6 years throughout the apprentices' tenure with us, they gain one advancement step towards becoming a licensed electrician. So for example, they begin at 50% of the electrician's wage in the area, and having learned some new skill or advancement over that 6 months, they advance 5% across the pay scale for a period of 5 years. So it makes that comfortable wage while essentially getting paid to go to school.
Excellent. Now, I think that's one of the things that we really want to highlight about a registered apprenticeship program, and Ann and Adam both talked about it, but you talked about OTJ. What was that? What does that stand for, Adam, again?
I'm sorry, OJT. Yeah, I kind of cruised over the top. This stands for on-the-job training.
Okay, and that's what one of the things that we really want to highlight with an apprenticeship program, a registered apprenticeship program, is there's a combination of classroom education in it, but then also an on-the-job training component. So I think, Ann, you talked about it with yours is 488 hours of classroom instruction, and then there's that 6,000 hours of on-the-job training for an apprentice going through that. For your guys' program, that how long will that roughly take? A couple years? What's the length on that?
It is a 3-year program, and parts is a 2-year program. Yep.
Oh yes, yep, 2 and 3 years. So it's really very similar to like a 2-year or 3-year degree. I mean, it's not, you can get through it. pretty quickly.
Mhm.
In that program, Adam talked about, kind of like stepped financial compensation, wages. Is that tied with your guys as well? As that apprentice goes through the program, will they see a wage increase as they go through that?
Yep, absolutely the same as Adams, where it's going to be every 6 months if they're meeting those thresholds of the number of hours and also completing that classroom instruction. Yep.
Excellent, excellent, awesome. And then, and yours, how many hour or classroom instruction, Adam, was your program again? I missed that.
It's 900 hours throughout the 5 years.
Okay, throughout the 5 years. And one thing that I'd like to point out is with an apprenticeship program, you will be some time in classroom, but I know a lot of times that students are coming up and facing those challenges of like, well, how much time does that really break down? Do you guys have a breakdown over that? I mean, per semester, hourly wise, or per month that the student or the apprentice will be going through the apprenticeship program? Start with you, Adam. Do you have like
Yes.
a monthly amount?
Yes, so our program breaks down to 180 contact hours at least a year, and what we recommend is an equal amount of hours for homework. So since our employers pay for this training, all of it's kind of driven around that 40-hour work week. So our apprentices that go to day school go bookends of the week, either on a Monday or Friday, so that they can complete their 40 hours on the other days of the week, and then conversely, if there are night classes, they're completed after the work day is done. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. And then for Ann, I mean, how does the apprenticeship program with that classroom instruction and the on-the-job training work at General Equipment and Supplies?
The on-the-job training is all documented. The classroom stuff is all done correspondence. So Taylor will get assigned a class and booklets will come. I'm sure there's some videos, and then his exams, whether there's one for the whole course or whether there's multiple throughout, are just proctored. So somebody's monitoring as he takes those exams. We use NDSCS for the correspondence classes. Originally, we talked about doing the in-classroom, but what we experienced was the apprentices that we recruited, that was very difficult, and it was very difficult to accommodate those schedules. So we sat down with NDSCS and came up with the correspondence option, and that's worked. I would say it's worked well. Yeah. So Taylor can do those on his own time, nights, weekends. If it is a slow time at work, sometimes we'll allow them to work on them at work, but most of that work is done outside of general equipment.
Okay, fantastic. Is there anything else that I haven't covered or anything that we haven't touched upon? So probably one of the things going into the next slide, yeah, we talked about National Apprenticeship Week. A lot of times there's a lot of promotion, there's a lot of talk about apprenticeship programs. And one of the things that we really want to address here in this forum is what are the benefits? What do you see as a training facility, as an employer? Why do you like using the apprenticeship model? And we'll start with Adam for now. What has really worked well with the apprenticeship program for you guys?
So our apprenticeship in particular is a great benefit to the employers. So we're a multi-employer model, meaning that we have anywhere from 49 to 100 different employers engaging in our program at any given time. So one of our functions is to match those employers with qualified apprentices, and then we deliver all of their necessary related training to accompany the on-the-job training that they get at that workplace. So in turn, that employer gets the best trained, most qualified workforce that's available to them. Now, the apprentice, on the other hand, pays nothing for their training. All that they have to bring to the table is the willingness to learn and the desire to go to work every day. They earn a competitive wage and benefits package for all of their hours worked. And then at the end of their apprenticeship, they have all of the qualifications necessary. They earn more than $65,000 a year. And most importantly, they have no debt at the end of that. So I really can't imagine a better scenario for apprentice and employer.
Excellent. And then Ann, kind of what we're talking about is what is you guys, and you had an informal apprenticeship program, but now you've fully registered your program. what has been the real benefit for general equipment and supplies is utilizing this registered apprenticeship program?
That we can teach them the way that we want them to do the job, the way that we want them to work. You know, I have 2 4-year degrees myself. So I got taught by instructors to do whatever, you know, to learn these concepts. Well, this employer might want something different or want something different than another. So we can teach them exactly what we need them to know. And that was the value of really having that curriculum, making sure that they're learning everything they need to know to be successful. And for us, for both aggregate and parts, there isn't opportunities for education. So we had to create a program that would accommodate our needs. There's not a school in the Midwest that I'm aware of that teaches you how to be what Taylor's learning every single day. We have so many experts in our shop that years and years of experience that Taylor's learning from, and someday he's going to hopefully take their place. So we had all this industry knowledge. We just needed to put together that curriculum, and then it's a win-win. A lot of things that Adam said, Taylor's over here shaking his head like, no student debt. We get to train. I mean, that's it. That's the benefit is getting great employees and having them learn from our people, our industry professionals that know that experience and know how it has to be done.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that probably puts us into that next segue, and maybe we've done a little bit of talking from Ann and Adam, but now let's get some perspective from our apprentices that are involved in here. And one of the things that we'll probably start with, we'll start with Taylor. You know, what has really been beneficial for you going through this apprenticeship program? Tell us what is the daily process of it? What do you enjoy about it? What did you really enjoy?
Everything about it. The number one in my book is the 0 student debt, 0 student loans. Working every day. I love just working. I don't like school is never something that I enjoyed to do or to go to every single day. I enjoyed working. So I found that it worked perfect for myself, and here I am.
Okay. And then how about for you, Jennifer? I mean, you mentioned in your introduction that you went straight out of high school into a registered apprenticeship program. You know, walk us through that decision, or why you chose to do that route instead of maybe looking at a 2-year or 4-year university.
So in high school, I took all the hands-on classes like small engines, auto tech, and then my senior year an egg wiring class opened up. So I took it because I like the hands-on class more than just like sitting in a desk and learning from paper. So I took it, and Adam actually came and talked to our school and had like a little presentation. I didn't really think much of it when he was there, but then when the semester was ending, I kind of asked my teacher about it. And he's like, I'll contact him for you. And then Adam came the next day or like the next week, and he gave me a form, and I filled it out and I took the test and I got hired right away. It was actually a really cool experience, especially since I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to go to college because of the student debt, and it just ended up being very good on my part.
Excellent. So, and then that's been kind of a theme here, but you know, you spoke about a little bit of the classes that you took, Jennifer. What classes, and this could probably be for everybody open up here, what classes did you find that were really beneficial to you preparing you for your apprenticeship program? We probably have a lot of students that are watching, maybe that some are interested, and then maybe looking at, hey, how should I prepare myself for an apprenticeship program after high school?
I think the most important classes are the hands-on ones, and definitely to take math a little more serious, because I didn't, and then I got into this thing and it's a lot of math. So if you have a little more like knowledge of math, you're gonna go through it way easier.
How about Taylor? How about for you? What classes did you take in high school that you felt prepared you for an apprenticeship program now?
I took 2 years of automotive tech and 2 years of diesel tech, and those were very helpful in learning how shops work, how the industry works in diesel and automotive, on how they recruit, where you go, what you have to do, things like that. And that's how I found general equipment. And had knowledge of how companies like this worked and the industry worked.
Mhm. Excellent. And I know Jennifer kind of alluded it too, but everything in the trades and in the apprenticeship program, and I imagine this Taylor can speak for this too, you know, math is going to be a crucial component. Now I know sometimes that students may hear that and they might get that pushback or might kind of go, oh, I'm not very good at math. The one real, and you've heard it on the ongoing theme here, the real benefit of an apprenticeship program is you are going to do some classroom instruction, but then you're going to apply a lot of those techniques the very next day. And maybe Taylor or Jennifer could talk about that. I mean, what you learn in the classroom, you're going to apply it the very next day, whether it may be some new algebra or some new, I know at our previous presentation, one of the other apprentices talked about physics, and I was never good at physics, but when you apply it the very next day, then you get that actual learning, correct? I mean, it sticks with you. You understand it a little bit more. Was that how you felt in your case, Taylor?
Yes, very much.
Very much.
I
How
think
about
as
for you,
Taylor
Jen?
kind of talked about earlier, like hands-on learners. So if you can teach algebra hands-on on the shop floor and show them this is algebra versus showing them in a book, that's how Taylor learns the best. So I agree, all of that stuff is absolutely applied as soon as it's learned, and then it clicks and makes sense.
Okay, excellent. And then I think as an apprenticeship, as they move through these progression levels, and you talked about it a little bit, Adam, and same with Ann, is you get to this journeyman status. How do you get to that journeyman status? Is there a test that you need to take for your guys' specific apprenticeship programs? Is there an assessment? How does that work out? And we'll start with you, Adam. How does someone as an apprentice in the electrical apprenticeship program move that level to journey person?
So particularly in North Dakota and many states throughout the US, there are two different components in order to become a journey worker electrician. One is that on-the-job training hours that have to be documented under a certain set of circumstances. The work is all under regulatory purview and was completed under a certified master electrician. So our apprentices are continually tracking those hours through their employer as they go along. And then the second half of that is they have to prove that they have at least 576 hours in an apprenticeship program that was certified by the state. So after they've completed those two things, they send in an application and take a state examination in order to become a journey worker.
Okay. And then how about for you guys with general equipment and supplies, Ann?
For us, it's a little bit different. For us, basically, Taylor will actually be our first that graduates the program because it is a 3-year program. And again, we're relatively new. So he will receive his Department of Labor apprenticeship certificate from us. And all, just like Adam said, all of his hours are being documented and they're put into those categories by his manager. So what he's learning. And then the correspondence classes, same thing. Those are all being monitored and documented. So once he's done, he'll receive that certificate.
Excellent. Okay. And then probably one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, or probably at the end here, finishing this up, for all of you here that are a part of this, what does the public need to know about an apprenticeship program, or maybe addressing that misconceptions? What are students or maybe educators that are sitting on here wanting to know more information about it? What is an apprenticeship program about, and what maybe it isn't about? Whoever wants to take it away. Maybe we'll go with Adam. We'll start with Adam.
I'm always willing to talk. Thank you, Jason. So one misconception that I'd like to address is apprenticeship is not inferior to college. Unlike colleges, our apprentices have to maintain at least a 75% average at all times. Since the employer is paying for that education, they expect the apprentice to demonstrate an understanding of each subject. So simply put, D's may get degrees, but that doesn't cut it in apprenticeship. So as a fully qualified worker in the organized electrical industry, total compensation packages around $95,000 without any student debt. So that does not sound inferior to college to me at all.
How about for you, Ann?
You know, we were gonna say the same thing had you called on us before Adam. But we would, you know, I think some students think that they, in order to be successful, they need to go to college, whether it's 2-year or 4-year. And that is absolutely not the truth. Like Taylor is 21 years old and he already has bought his first home. He bought his first home at 20 years old. He knows about interest rates. He knows about finance rates. He's making an excellent salary. He has a career path. You know, that's probably another misconception, is that you need a degree in order to move up in your job. And that's not true, because here we need experience in order to move up in their job. We need good attitude and we need work ethic, and Taylor's got all of those. So misconceptions is just like Adam said, that it's not inferior. And there's plenty of opportunities for a career path. Anything you would add?
Yeah.
Nope.
How about for you, Jennifer? What did you say, or what would you address with the apprenticeship programs?
I just have to agree with the college thing. Like, just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you can't make a great life, because right out of high school, I've been employed throughout my whole apprenticeship. I've never been unemployed. So they've like kept that promise to me, and I think they can keep that promise to a lot more people.
So you're going to be continually learning and working at the same time, and you're not actually taking out any college debt for either of you, Taylor or Jennifer.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the things that we really like to highlight with the registered apprenticeship program. For students who are, you know, looking at exploring their options after high school, a registered apprenticeship program puts you in the driver's seat really for a world of opportunity. With that, we'll have, I posted the Adam and Ann's contact information on there for anybody that's watching. Certainly, these are the two go-to sources for any information, and they would love an opportunity to meet up with any students or talk with them. With that, Amanda, did we have any questions?
We have one question, so I just want to remind the attendees that we are now taking questions, so go ahead and pop them into the Q&A feature and we will answer them at this time. So the first and only question that we have so far is, do either of these apprenticeship programs have experience working with students who may have various disabilities? What accommodations can or do you offer in your program for those who may need them?
That's a great question. Adam, would you like to take that one? Start with that one?
I would like to take that. So our apprenticeship program has been around for a very long time, and we have a really distinct pathway to dealing with disabilities, not only dealing with, but encouraging people with disabilities to apply to our program. So most of it is all kept confidential. And if anyone has a disability that requires an accommodation that we're able to make, the vast majority of employers or even students don't know about it. So most disabilities when we've been able to accommodate for, so long as they can perform the essential functions of the job.
Okay. And I imagine that's probably very similar with you guys and with General Equipment and your partnership with NDSCS.
Yeah, very similar. If we can make the accommodations, we're absolutely willing to do so, as long as they can perform the tasks that are needed.
Yep. Excellent. And I think that's one of the things about an apprenticeship program, is that if you're willing to put in the time, you'd be amazed how much these employers all want to work with you. They want to work with that apprentice. They want to develop someone from whether it be an electrician or a general parts into somebody, a highly skilled individual. You're willing to make that commitment, they're willing to make these commitments as well.
All right, so we don't have any more questions, but I just remember a question that someone had the other day. So for students who are interested in these programs in particular, do they have to perhaps move to Fargo to take part in them, or are students are able to participate in these apprenticeship programs throughout the state?
For us, it's throughout the state. We have locations in Bismarck, Minot, Williston, and Fargo. We also have locations South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa, but absolutely anywhere we have a location, we are looking for apprentices for those locations.
Yeah, stole my thunder a little. You're 100% right. We have training locations in Minot, Williston, Bismarck, Fargo, Grand Forks, as well as South Dakota, Minnesota. Right now we have 358 registered apprentices spread throughout that jurisdiction. So we hire anywhere from 30 to 100 apprentices a year within our jurisdiction here. So no, you wouldn't have to move to Fargo.
Wonderful. We are not seeing any more questions, so last call for questions. So like I said, everyone, today is our final presentation, both of Apprenticeship Week and of the entire Career Discovery 2020 webinar series. Today's webinar and all previous recordings, including the previous 2 apprenticeship webinars that we had this week, can be found on the Career Discovery tab on the Career Compass website. So make sure you head on over there. We have a variety of topics, apprenticeships, different careers in coding and agriculture. We have some college specific stuff and even one on military as well. So we have quite a few and a little bit for everybody. So yeah, no other let's see, one more question. Do you have more information on your website about the apprenticeship program?
Yes, there's a tab on general equipment and supplies website that talks about apprenticeships. There's actually a couple brochures and a couple videos on the website as well.
And ours is very similar. We have an applicants tab on our website where you can complete the entire application process from there.
Wonderful. All right, Jason, that is all I have for today.
Okay.
So, say any.
With that, maybe I want to thank our presenters here today, and especially thank our apprentices. Getting that knowledge of what an actual apprenticeship program from the individuals who are going through it, I think is invaluable. I want to thank you, Taylor and Jennifer, for taking the time here to come in today, give that input, give that insight, because I think there's a lot of students that are watching this or will be watching this, and maybe as it's put on the Bank of North Dakota's website, parents, educators, and more prospective apprentices that, okay, I can see myself doing this, especially in the case of, well, both of you. You're actually developing your career while getting paid. I think that is truly essential about an apprenticeship program. It's probably the best foot forward. You're not going to incur thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of debt. And then when you are done with your apprenticeship program, you have your job, you have your career path set forth. I know with myself, when I graduated from college, I didn't have a job. I did have debt, but I didn't have a job. I still had to find that job. So I think thank you guys for being here today, taking that time. And any final thoughts that you guys would like to add as apprentices?
We invite any student that would like to come job shadow, Taylor, to come do. That's one thing too. We want students that, might not be familiar with what an apprenticeship program is. I know webinars and all that, it can be a lot, but we absolutely offer, job shadows, shop tours, just spending some time visiting with Taylor will help you learn more about our apprenticeship program.
And do you have anything similar like that, Adam, with your guys' apprenticeship program, like a job shadow or a work study program or anything?
We sure do. It's a little bit more difficult to set up, so we usually encourage students to contact their counselor, and we can set them up on a one-on-one basis. But in order to maintain a safe working environment and make sure that student isn't getting into harm's way, we pair them with an employer and an employee that understands what their role is for that day. But yeah, if you contact your career counselor and they get in touch with us, we can absolutely set up something like that.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you guys again for being a part of this roundtable discussion during National Apprenticeship Week. And with that, I think we can, unless there are any other questions added, Amanda?
Just one very last one. Is there an age range or a minimum age that students need to be to join the apprenticeship program?
For us, it's 18.
For us, traditionally, it was 18, but we interview applicants that are 17 all the time. One of our minimum qualifications is completion of high school or a GED. So it's difficult to be less than 18 years of age complete one of those things, but we really aren't bound by the 18 years of age.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And that was the final question. So thank you all of our attendees for joining us today. Thank you if you're re-watching the webinar as well. And like I said, this and all recordings can be found on the Career Discovery tab on the Career Compass website. Thank you to Jason and all of our panelists today for joining us, and we will see you in the spring. All right, bye everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good day.